One more champion yet to be crowned in the high school championship here in Richmond, Virginia. We're at the boys final as the Nathan Hale Waldorf Whales going against Lone Peak in our championship contest. Both teams coming into this contest undefeated in tournament play. Both have been impressive. And Keith, one more game this season for these two teams. I can't wait. Great way to cap off the high school ultimate season.
These are two great programs who have been successful at the youth level for a number of years. So this could be kind of a crowning achievement for each of them. Seeing Nathan Hale in this final before, they were not able to become victorious in that try in 2018. And Lone Peak, however, has been fighting to get to this point, but they've been one of the top programs in the country for a number of years.
Lone Peak undefeated this season, and the path to getting here for both these two teams, they both won their pool. Nathan Hale Waldorf being the number 1 seed overall, Lone Peak being the number 3. Moved around a little bit to kind of change matchups between familiar teams. But man, it almost seemed like at points where these two teams were going to be on a collision course.
It does. There were some other talented teams in the field that might have upset that, but over the course of the tournament, it started to become clear that these were two of the best teams here. Now, Nathan Hale was not far from getting knocked off in the semifinal that we had on this field just 2 rounds ago. They really had to fight to get past Eastside Prep and get into this final. Meanwhile, Lone Peak pretty dominant in their game. So we'll see which team maybe has had a little bit more mileage, see if that comes into play after the teams have had a round off, a chance to get their bodies back to optimal peak performance condition.
Yeah, and you mentioned how Wales, it took a little bit for them in their semifinal to eventually close out the win. Lone Peak, they finished early over Lincoln. They were able to come in. They were able to come in and watch the closing moments. And, of course, talked about them two being, as it was established throughout the tournament, being the two favorites. They were also the two favorites coming in as well.
Top 2 teams in our power rankings, and I'm fired up to get to see how they stack up against one another. I think these are two teams that are well coached. They're experienced. They're not going to be afraid of the moment, and I think that's going to lead to some great ultimate. And another thing that's going to make for a great ultimate is a wonderful atmosphere here. Sun setting in the distance. We've got the lights on here at the Field Complex in Richmond, Virginia, and we've got the crowd ready to go. I'm not sure exactly which side they're going to favor, and ideally, I guess we'll get some energy for both of them.
Well, I will say, Lone Peak has quite the contingent traveling with them here and has been able to will them to this far in the bracket. Again, Nathan Hale, Lone Peak, both getting byes to the quarterfinals. They're a tough matchup against that Lexington squad there for Nathan Hale, a team that I think surprised many in this tournament as the championship game is underway here in the capital of Virginia. Wales attacking from right to left, wearing blue. Lone Peak wearing white with black shorts, attacking left to right. Immediate deep shot here as Cedar Hines challenging the deep defense. And Lone Peak comes up strong.
Great block to start. This is not a Nathan Hale team that's all about efficiency or anything. They're going to be comfortable playing defense, but we get the star matchup, Tyler, from the get-go. Lone Peak's Everett Saunders matching up with Hale's Declan Miller. These two will be teammates on the under-20 U.S. national team in Wrocław, Poland.
Right now, both teams came out. Person looks. First for us here in these championship rounds. Oh, nice grab. Mark Allen. Oh, man, but then on the continuation throw into the end zone, a huge collision. Mayan Hansen as well as Kendall Pugh. But they're able to resolve it themselves without the observers. Get it right before the end zone, and an opening break for Lone Peak.
When you talk about unafraid of the moment, Lone Peak showing they are ready for it. Coming out and breaking the #1 team and doing so comfortably.
Able to come, test the defense, and here's the score. Just quick up line. Easy work for teams of this caliber.
And like I mentioned, Nathan Hale's defense after the turn has been one of the things that's made them the most successful team at this tournament. Their ability to avoid breaks by playing great defense, and to see them give it up without even forcing a turnover is a bit surprising.
So a big break for Lone Peak to start. So with Nathan Hale Waldorf, a team that they have the depth, but they like to go with their top guys. A lot of points played this tournament. See a lot of Declan Miller and Tucker Colmus on both lines. Ocean Hines, Cedar Hines, Dexter Schaefer-White. Several players going both ways.
Yeah, sometimes it's not that your depth, you need to play all 22 players, 24 players in every single game. You can only put 7 players in the field. Sometimes your depth ability to play well earlier in the tournament can save the legs of your best players so you can really get them run in those late crucial games. Having good depth is not all about getting a bunch of different contributors on in every single game.
Mayan Hansen back to Miller. Ocean Hines almost just handed it right there to Miller. Hansen eventually finds Colmus. He's now coming in with this zone look, maybe causing the Whales some trouble. Oh, and might have been fouled as he wound up. Looked like Joshua Braganje might have knocked the disc out of Mayan Hansen's hand.
So, just to be clear, the torso can move. It has to be in a legal position. The arms and legs have to both be in a legal position and stationary. Does that help resolve this at all? Well, what part of the body did they contact with?
It hit my face.
Hit your face. Okay, so that would be an extended part. So that has to be both stationary and legal. So if it wasn't stationary, then
here's the
foul.
look on the wind back. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing Braganje can do in that situation.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that he wasn't stationary. I do love, we've talked about this a little bit in the last broadcast. A lot of rules explanations as players are younger, maybe haven't played with third-party observers as frequently. I would not mind to see that at some higher levels. I know a lot of players at the club and college level who could use a couple of rules refreshers in the middle of a point. Also lets you calm down because you're going to thinking mode.
Ocean Hines, one more to his brother. The Hines connection. Ocean to Cedar.
And that's a little bit of a taste of what this Wales team can do. They are happy to play the small ball that I think Seattle teams have kind of made their signature. You know, this, we've been playing 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and 4-on-4 all year at practice kind of style of play. And that one thing that does is it keeps the disc moving. They are very active. Players are constantly presenting themselves as targets. Rarely are you seeing players completely remove themselves from the play. Everybody knows, you know, the disc can come to my way quickly, so I need to be ready and able to impact the game.
Would you call that a honey pass? Does that meet the parameters? Not quite?
I don't think so. I think it needs a different name.
It needs a different name. We'll take suggestions for it. We got the half a verse earlier on. just a tease to go back, and I believe that was the girls' semifinal. Go back and watch that one if you are unfamiliar with what we're talking about. 1-1.
Some poaching on the part of the Whales. They are a team that's gonna do a couple of different things on defense. You're not gonna see them just match up every time.
Wyatt Arnoldson, as I believe a pick is called.
Yeah, it occurred a couple seconds ago. So what do you want to come in on? Okay, let me check.
Good handler, D. But here's the deep shot. Arnoldson chasing it down. Elevated clap catch. An offensive hold there for Lone Peak.
Arnoldson just sneaking behind. The defense gets lost, and that blown coverage makes for easy work.
Max Dullen. What a throw. Late in the stall. Good recognition by Arnoldson as well, realizing that stall was getting high and just providing a deep shot option.
Dullen is one of the stars of this Lone Peak team, a veteran, a captain, a player who plays in the AUDL with the Salt Lake Shred. I believe has been turnover free, is my understanding. So this has generated a little bit of buzz on that level, but Dullen is an impressive player. Was invited to U20 national team tryouts, which is usually a mark of a very strong individual player.
Nathan Hale, Waldorf, two teams merging into one that are both familiar with this scene. Waldorf was here back in 2019. Nathan Hale was actually runner-up back in 2018. Teams this year merged together. They aren't very far apart from one another. Waldorf, a team that actually, a school that has less than 100 kids in attendance. So them merging together to make one unified team. Of course, two great ultimate high school programs able to come together, and some may regard it as a super team, a team that has been able to put together some of the top talent. I know for Waldorf, they pride themselves on their ultimate program. And this merger isn't something that's necessarily long-term. It's just the way the consortium works, and depending on how attendance numbers, rosters numbers kind of come forward. Application process as well, but right now, Nathan Hale Waldorf, great team this season. Again, two historically good programs as well.
Well, when your school has 70 to 100 kids, you need at least 10% of your school to play Ultimate in order to field a team, which is a tough ask, but it has not stopped Waldorf from having success in the past. And now united with this Nathan Hale group, we've seen them be one of the best teams here, although an unusual mistake on the part of Tucker Colmus trying to hit Declan Miller with the initiating throw, and it's just behind him. Maybe unclear on which player was going in which direction. Sometimes you see that kind of miscommunication, but not something you see a lot from this Wales team. It's pretty seasoned and is certainly seems pretty cohesive, especially these veteran players like Miller and Colmus.
So another break chance for Lone Peak. Quite the statement if they're able to go up 3-1 early in the hands of Everett Saunders. And a blown coverage in the end zone. Not going to see an easier goal scored than that. Braden Bybee going to the front cone.
Not sure what Hale drew up in the huddle, but that probably wasn't it. It looked like they were trying to do sort of a clammy vert stack trapping switch defense, and somebody did not understand their responsibility, because there was a hole at the front cone, the easiest part of the field for Everett Saunders to hit.
Yeah, there's one thing that coaches will say, I'm sure you've said it plenty of times, don't get beat to the front cone on the far sideline.
Sure, I sure have said that plenty of times. It's frustrating as a coach to feel like you're giving up the most valuable part of the field, especially when you're in such a small section of field, and it's clear, there's no doubt about a team wanting to win the battle there.
So now, this Nathan Hale Waldorf team down again. They were down in the semifinals. Down multiple times, 4-2 to Eastside Prep. I guess that was it. They were down 1-0 and they were down 4-2.
Well, you and I talked about teams learning to win and having to kind of take your lumps first. And for Hale, you know, that's potentially a chance to do that, to grow, to get better together, and to have that moment happen. You know, the point is that you don't want to have the first time you're really tested be when all the marbles are on the line.
3-1.
But this Lone P program knows about having to fight. This is something that's ingrained in the program, and a player like Everett Saunders is a leader on this team. I mean, he was a freshman on the last Lone P team to play at the high school national invite, and he was getting run then too as a handler.
Junk zone by Lone Peak. Seems like first time Nathan Hale's finally been able to work through it. The Whales, Declan Miller, upside down, just a little scoop over the top to Ocean Hines, back to Miller. Ooh, almost knocked out of the hands of Tucker Kalmus. Miller struggling to get around Jake Owen.
This is what you don't want to see if you're Lone Peak. Multiple touches in short spans of time.
They're staying in the junk. Right in front of the end zone. Layout dive by Saunders. Miller had an opening for a second if he wanted to hit a throw. Kalmus right there on the doorstep. Miller going one-on-one with Owen. Oh, and then left wide open. Cedar Hines just waiting for someone to see him.
I mean, that looked like a basketball crossover from Declan Miller. Broke somebody's ankles with that fake. And just a wide open lane for the layup to Cedar Miller. Just a little hezzy cross. And then you go right to the cup with it.
Both goals being scored by Cedar Hines. Scored 2 in the semifinals as well. Younger brother of Ocean Hines. Cedar just in 10th grade. Ocean a senior graduating class along with Declan Miller. Looking for a high school championship after an outstanding season up in Washington.
Hines, another one of the players on this team, will be representing the United States at the World Junior Ultimate Championships. Tucker Kalmus, Declan Miller, and Ocean Hines, as well as Everett Saunders on the opposite side, will all be together on that roster. So plenty of individual stars in this matchup.
Miller's really been kind of the face of high school ultimate this season, as Ocean Hines delivers a beauty of a pull right on the back line. It had to be picked up. Couldn't risk it, and now deep in their own end zone, Lone Peak trying to get out. Oh, possession-saving catch by Max Dullen. Here's the deep shot just to get it out of the end zone, but Arnoldson about 2 strides too deep.
For a punt, they almost had that. It's a pretty good look as far as eject buttons go.
And now a chance for the Whales. Again, mixing Hale, Waldorf. to try and get a break. Good find to Miller. Continue to Ocean Hines. His feet are in. Hale has a break back.
Great look progression and decision making on the part of Julian Watson with the hockey assist to Declan Miller. He caught that forehand on this near sideline. And there were some tempting throws in front of him. You know, he could have tried to throw somebody to space, try and make it a way pass towards the back cone. You'll see it here. There's a couple of cuts that might have looked open, but instead takes the simpler option. And Miller's able to send it to the break side.
Sometimes the best decision is to get the disc in the hands of your best playmaker.
And Miller is certainly a playmaker.
People still hanging out. Long day of Ultimate, staying here for the finals, just past 8:05 Eastern. Round started for, if you were in the championship bracket in pre-quarters, 9 a.m. sharp today. Don't tell Charlie, we were a little late there.
But it's by design, too, that there's still players as fans. You know, having this tournament, having these finals end at night, you know, a lot of teams can basically just plan to leave tomorrow, and many teams stay to watch the final. You know, maybe you buy your plane tickets for tomorrow so you know, hey, maybe we're going to be in the final. You never know. But if you're not, you know you're going to have a great game to watch.
That is the one thing I will maintain to anybody that is going to a national level event, especially with a team. Don't have your flight be until the next morning. Stay that extra night. It'll be well worth your time. You don't want to be pushing against it here late in the day.
Well, it's also a benefit of having the tournament on Friday and Saturday. People don't have to skip a day of work or school for that extra time.
But if I'm being honest, I'd rather skip Mondays, personally.
I think almost everyone in the world would rather skip Mondays.
So if I'm taking a day off, that's the one I want. Big around swing, Zane Pugh. Good find to his brother, Kimball. A quick reset. And this Lone Park team, really the first time we've been able to see someone match up athletically with the Whales. Oh, even better catch, Max Dullen, making layout plays all over the field.
Little AUDL matchup between Dullen and Declan Miller.
Crescent Hawks. Oh, what a cut. Just ran right past his defender. Goal for Lone Peak.
Nice spot by Hawks. Well, there's plenty of poaches around, and that asks a lot of players with the disc and their decision making. Being able to suss out not only who's open, but where the defenders are and what options are available to you. And when you make throwers, especially young players, think, a lot of times you can get mistakes from them, but not when you're thinking well. And Hawks lines that up perfectly, and it's in fact Ocean Miller who gets the misread, tries to play the defender and not the space that he's attacking, and that lets the cutter get in to the end zone.
Listerine, I like that one. I'm going to have to use that later. Ryan Roberts there scoring the goal for Lone Peak. It is 4-3, Lone Peak on top. They are up a break as the Whales started on offense in this contest. Hale won last year's Washington State Championship. The Whales came in heavily as the tournament favorites and favorites in their pool. Relatively cruised yesterday to earn a bye into the quarters. Both these teams 6-0. As Palmas sending it to Miller. Designed to play, but goes out of bounds. Too much edge on the disc. Declan Miller unable to get it and keep it in play.
Miller and Saunders matched up yet again, each headed to one of the most well-known now college programs.
And a full field huck by Saunders, and Ocean Hines is pumped up for that block.
Not sure if Ocean Hines is talking to the opponent or talking to himself, but he definitely had some words after that block.
And this remains an O point for the Whales. A little behind Miller, and Miller goes down hard. Official's going to have a quick conversation. Great to see Declan Miller back up on his feet. Awkward landing, especially with his limbs
Coach,
underneath his body.
Are we good? Okay, terrific. All right, so whenever y'all, it's the two closest people, so I don't know, we'll take you two closest. When y'all two are ready, you can just check the ground. It's just the closest two are checking the ground to restart play. There's no call. There's no call. We're live, we're live.
So no call by Miller, just precautionary, both sides. Player goes down hard. Want to make sure. Sanders picks up. Lone Peak with a break.
And it could be difficult in those situations, but you got to show some composure if you're Hale and get organized. You had the stoppage as a chance to do that. It's not necessarily on Miller, who needs to be engaged with the conversation, but the other people on the team do not. You can already start calling out defensive assignments. You can start saying, hey, or if you need to poach to pick up a space, talk to each other, because what happens was they came out disorganized and gave up an easy score.
Look at that closing speed by Ocean Hines. He's able to turn it on. That closing speed by Ocean Hines, just able to turn it on that block. And I think for Wales, it might have just been a situation of fearful that Miller's okay. I mean, that definitely, I've had moments where one of your top players goes down in a big moment, and you aren't really worried about that point. You're worried about what's going on with, in that case, it would have been Declan Miller.
Miller staying on and looks okay.
I think at this point, he's going to have to be dragged off the field. Yeah, I think he's going to gut it out. He didn't come this far this season in this tournament to take a breather.
And I think we're going to see a reverse flood for him. They like to do this, but Cedar Hines a bit confused about where he's supposed to be.
Schaefer White gets it to Colmus, but play is stopped.
The disc was in the air, so it's going to come in on stalling one.
Okay, great. So
Saying stalling one on your check.
A little bit of confusion in the handler weave, but it finds the hands of Hansen. Oh! Right place at the right time. The Lone Peak defender just jumped up, not wearing numbers. Saunders gives him the bookends.
And Hale's getting into a bit of a danger zone, and they made the same mistake yet again. They didn't activate in transition. Saunders is running to pick up the disc because he sees that Hale is not ready. Hale has got to transition from defense to offense faster. All right, from offense to defense faster, excuse me. And they had plenty of time there. I mean, there was not a fast transition on that play, but everyone was so stunned by the nature of the block that they weren't focused on the next thing they need to do.
Yeah, that was a situation by Colmus, and we had to see it might have been a little bit of blinders of what's going on downfield. But now, Peak in a very, very good spot right now. Up 3 breaks on Wales. And a Wales team that seems very frazzled at this point to basically the fact that Lone Peak's been able to match them. It's nothing that they're doing, I think, schematically or next level thinking that's thwarting them. It's the fact that they're going toe for toe, and right now, Lone Peak has the edge.
Lone Peak just play tremendous defense. I mean, they are active, they're athletic, they're aggressive, and Hale has not looked ready for that. They have not looked ready for somebody who can really force them to take their second, their third looks.
Taking the pull, Sam Pugh. As we are under the lights here in Richmond, Virginia, the high school national invite coming to you live from Ultiworld. Thank everybody for joining us. It's been an outstanding tournament. Hoping to go out here on a high note. Declan Miller, nice flick throw to Ocean Hines. He had enough time on that one. He debated how he wanted to go up and get it. That's a clean 0 point that the Whales needed.
I got a little bit nervous there. I'm not going to lie to you. He gives the big arms wide open, nickelback. Hey, I'm available. I'm going to catch this. And then at the last second, it's like, never mind. Maybe I'm going to do this differently. And that feels like a setup to botch a wide open, stone cold drop. I wish I had did that moment. But Hines comes through, and he gets to talk his talk, and that's exactly where he wants to be.
I love there for Miller. You saw it briefly there on the replay, but it's so often, especially when you're taught for the continuation, to turn back around in the direction of the momentum of the disc. Instead, he caught it, and he turned inward where the rest of the team is, so he can make an instant decision right away instead of taking that extra second to gather your bearings and see where everyone's at, because then the throw wouldn't be there at that point. He turned inward instead of outward, and that's just credit to Declan Miller. I mean, if there's anybody on this field that can be thinking at that high of a level and has the awareness to know to be able to do that, especially in that type of situation, it's going to be him.
And a timeout now taken by the Whales, and they're not even really bringing it in, so I'm thinking this is just kind of a water break for the team. They mostly just wanted to take a second, get their breath, get a few sips of liquid, and get back on the field. I mean, they've been running a tight rotation, and there's a tall task ahead of them.
The Lone Peak girls team cheering on their classmates.
There was actually a pretty cool moment today during the quarterfinal round. Both the Lone Peak boys division team and girls division teams were playing against the South Eugene boys division teams and girls division teams on adjacent fields. So you could hear a team celebrate both their own scores and the scores of their team from the other division. And you had fans who were lined up to root for both sides. It was a cool environment for both teams. Or all four teams, I should say, both schools.
So now it is 6-4. Wales down 2 breaks to Lone Peak out of the timeout. We're really seeing just the same 7 to 9 guys for Wales right now.
But if you're Wales, I think this is the position you want to get a goal in, get back on defense, try and make this game feel a little bit more like your game, because so far it's felt a lot like Lone Peak's game. And they are dictating the tempo of this game.
And that one goes through the legs of the receiver. Gives the defense a couple extra seconds. No one covering. Wyatt Arnoldson, who was streaking deep. Handler's unable to get the throw off. Looks like the marks are just going completely flat here for Wales. Shading slightly to the flick side. Zane Pugh matched up against Milo Friedman. Miller picks up quickly, trying to find the angle. Ocean Hines skies up for the score.
Tough point for Preston Hawks. Has the drop, can't recover to get the block. And the last guy that you want to let build up the momentum, I think, on this Hale team is Ocean Hines. He will get this team fired up. I mean, he has got so much energy. They look to him to be a source, and you see where it comes from. When he gets these goals, he turns to his teammates, and he tries to push them to be better.
Already 2 goals, an assist, and a block. As the Whale is getting in the celebration. How many of those do you think they go through a year? How many times does the Whale get popped?
Oh, I like to think that they had it last all year.
I think that kid's taking very good care of the Whale, as it is now 5-6. A big break for Nathan Hale Waldorf, as we are nearing the end of the first half. If you haven't gotten the chance, check out this pull from Ocean Hines. Best high school puller I have seen.
That's a pretty solid one. It's going to put Lone Peak in unfavorable field position, although DeLynn does not seem disconcerted at all.
Zane Pugh gives it to Preston Hawks. A lot of seniors on this Lone Peak team, 14 of their 21 players. An uncontested throw, matching up deep, pushed away.
Amar Lang with the better timing on that jump. Mitchell Burt going up just a little too early, and really he was going to get that disc on the way down if he was going to get it. So maybe even though he may have a little bit of a height or length advantage, better timing from the defender.
So here's a break. Opportunity for Nathan Hale. They're still down 2 breaks. Lang, Hines, looking downfield, streaking deep, Schaefer White. We are tied at 6.
Wow, maybe it's high tide because the ocean's rising right now. He is on one at this point.
And here's the deep look for Lone Park. A little bit short. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Keith. Mitchell Burt went up a little bit too early. But what a throw by Hines.
Well, as a coach, I know I'd be frustrated to see my defenders not just beat deep by one player, but 2 different players on that play. You got to know that Hines is capable of making a deep look and try and contain that. It's in the same way I've said before, the time when a team can make the most dangerous throws in the first 2 seconds after getting the disc. So that's when you have to try and take away the most dangerous options, first of which is often going to be deep. Then once those 2 seconds expire and you get a mark back on and kind of set up, you can lock in to the more traditional defensive looks.
And you just saw on that ISO shot, Ocean Hines is feeling it, laying it all out there. Last game of the season, last game for this Wales team in his career. He is doing everything for them. He is scoring, he is throwing the scores, has some outstanding pulls.
Tyler, we've got 2 great teams. We got great players. We got a close game. We got an excited crowd. We've got the sunset, the temperatures going down to perfect ultimate weather, and we got the light shining on us. This is what we do this for.
High school ultimate, under the lights, nothing better. Sanders and Miller. Sanders wins a big foot race.
That's a great cut from Sanders, but Sam Pugh, take a bow. What a rocket of a forehand. Excuse me, not Pugh. A tremendous forehand shot to Saunders. And Saunders showing not only can he make plays in the backfield, but he can get downfield too. And that's one of the things that makes a player really dangerous. When it's a pick your poison kind of situation, it becomes really hard for any individual defender to take an option away.
I think it was, I'll have to go back and look, but I believe that was a pull play with Declan Miller coming down hard, and as he's been time and time again on these pulls from Ocean Hines, just break them loose, send them deep. The one thing, especially in ultimate long games, that you don't want to do point after point is the same thing over and over again. You don't want to become predictable. No matter how talented you are, no matter how good you are, you want to mix things up, and Lone Peak did there. Now a chance for Lone Peak, if they can break, to take the half. Huge point for the Whales. Stack very deep.
Usually that tells you that you're probably seeing a team that wants to work it amongst the handlers, but they had sent Miller downfield.
Miller makes a contested catch. First under, they were able to complete this possession. Kalmus to Cedar Hines, back to Kalmus. Line out for it, no. Cedar Hines unable to corral the disc. Here's a chance for Lone Peak to take the half. And timeout called by Lone Peak. They did get a couple of seconds of that stall off. Wise timeout there. Chance to punch it in. They got plenty of them. They got both of them left, so.
Yeah, they'll take a chance to draw it up. Burning their second timeout now, and the Kalmus just miscommunicating with Cedar Hines. Thought Hines was going to continue up the line, and he wasn't ready for it. And last time that we had this situation, Saunders burned a timeout a little bit closer to the goal line, so a scoring throw was an easy look. I wouldn't call this the red zone. I usually define the red zone as basically a position where you could easily throw one throw for a score, if you wanted a simple, non-numerical explanation. But last time we came out in this situation, we saw Hale try and set up kind of junky look, poaching around to help each other on each sides of the vertical stack, and they failed to execute it. So I don't know if they will go back to that, especially given that the field position is a bit different. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do, again, try and drop some poaches to see if they could take away whatever look that the Lone Peak coaching staff may be designing.
All right. Defense, you can start setting up. It looks like they're already set.
So a side stack look here for Lone Peak coming out of the timeout. Interesting, it's directly above the disc. Typically you see teams set up on the opposite side, have a wide open cutting lane, but instead,
all right, he'll be coming in saying stalling 5
very
on your check.
skinny stack right in front of the disc, and it looks like Miller's going to be forcing into the stack.
Well, the space they're leaving occupied is probably the space they want to attack.
And all it took was 2 break throws to get there. Max Dullen. Sam Pugh. Saunders.
He's been aggressive over the top.
As over the top as you can get without it actually being over the top. A blade to the back corner. A break for half for Lone Peak.
What a close to the half by Lone Peak, and really what a start to the half by Lone Peak. Hale, it feels like he's almost a little bit lucky for it to be 8-6.
And that takes us to half.
Big half for Everett Saunders going up against his fellow AUDL compatriot Declan Miller. But Lone Peak looking for the upset here in the championship final. Sanders finds his man as it is 8-6 with the championship on the line.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
a place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
a place where we remember to laugh,
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
a place where character, community, and competition
Are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play ultimate, we live ultimate.
It's caught by A.J. Larson.
Just a massive layout catch there by Kucharski.
Davis looking for Gordon deep. A couple of defenders giving chase.
And that's a beautiful shot from Swiatek.
And then they continue to the end zone. And a great catch by Rondisvet. Down, popping up in the air. Rondisvet goes up over everybody.
Soars through the air for that catch.
And there is a Callahan.
Hand block and got right back.
Now looking at downfield for Larson, and he lays out and makes an incredible catch. Seymour going for the big gainer, looking for it all. And Rondisvet lays out Medina. They're going to the final.
Pacheco with room and puts it up for Gadu. This is the kind of shot Roosevelt wants. And now the deep shot for Gadu, and she brings it in. It will be this year's 2019 High School National Invite champions.
Davis looking for Gordon right away. Rondeset in the area. Rondeset goes up. Gordon gets it though. Berkeley win the High School National Invite.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
One half to go in the High School National Invite, a championship on the line between Lone Peak and Nathan Hale Waldorf. 8-6, Lone Peak on top at the half. I'm Tyler Byron, this is Keith Rayner. It's been a half that I would say you're Lone Peak, you are very happy with that half. They played extremely well, and this is a Wales team that we haven't seen struggle at all in this tournament, and now they have some adversity they're having to battle back through.
Well, they have had a little adversity in the semifinal prior to this, but Lone Peak has given them a whole different type of test. And one thing Lone Peak's doing really well is they're pressing their advantage, and driving that advantage is Everett Saunders. Saunders is a U20 player for this team, a leader, a player who's been playing with them at this tournament since he was a freshman. He played on the 2019 team and was a handler on that squad, and has made a big difference with his gameplay, but also his leadership. He's the one pushing the team to pick up the disc early, to stay on the attack, and sensing the weakness of his opponents and seizing those moments to capitalize. It's a big part of why this game is 8-6. It's a credit to Nathan Hale's talent that it is that close still.
And Saunders has a big matchup as well, doing against Declan Miller. So it's one thing to be able to produce at a high level. It's one thing to continue to do it against one of the best players on the other team, if not the best player on the other team. And he's covering him as well defensively.
Well, that's been another part, I would say, of Lone Peak's success, is they have a number of bodies they can throw at Declan Miller, who's been perhaps the strongest offensive player in the boys division at this tournament. Someone who gets open on his isolations with great frequency, but he's had a tough test, and a number of different players have gone on to guard him, whether it's Max Stillin, whether it's Everett Saunders. We've seen Dayton guarding him as well. And we've seen a couple different bodies go on him and challenge him, and that's going to force him to think a little bit more and have to be on his toes.
Well, Lone Peak opening up the lines just a tad. Everett Saunders getting a break out a half as we have an 0 point for Lone Peak, up 8-6. A hold here out of the break would be huge to go up 9-6.
I can't believe you're going to let that Ocean Hines pull go unmentioned.
I've mentioned every other one. It's becoming routine at this point. What was the thing about performing to expectations? He exceeded my expectations earlier, and now I have a new expectation.
Although Lone Peak has done a great job dealing with it, operating from weakened field position.
Max Delin. Ryan Roberts. Quick give to the sideline. I believe that's Bridger Dayton, as we were informed that he's not wearing his jersey number. Now Zane Pugh matched up against Milo Friedman. Friedman with the wide mark. A blade over the top. That's not the throw you want, but they convert on it. Oh, what a move to get the mark to slide across. Preston Hawks able to get it in.
DeLynn able to get the goal, but the big play on that one's going to be Kimball Pugh, one of a number of Pews on the team, and there's even a couple in the stands. But here's that catch by Pugh. Goes up over the defense to save that one. And that sets up the score. And Hawks, you know, Hawks had that one point, he had the drop, and then he got scored on by Ocean Hines. Since then, he's played better, and he ditched the hat. Maybe he felt like the hat was in his way, tossed it aside, and
you
now
don't
he's
need it
rolling.
anymore. You don't need it.
Hey, sometimes you just gotta change it up, though.
9-6. Lone Peak, very strong lead at this point, the way the points have fallen here late in the first half and opening moments here of the second. 3 points is manageable, but you don't want it to get any further out than that if you're Wales. Every 0 point, more and more important going forward.
Absolutely, and I think they'd love to build up a little momentum. We haven't really seen a ton of those, clean flowing offensive points that the Whales have used to calm the waters, so to speak, when they've come across trouble. They've often, either they give up a break or they have a rough patch where their offense isn't quite as smooth. They'll come out, they'll hit a point where the disc never stays in anybody's hands for more than 3 or 4 seconds, and all of their throws feel uncontested as they score. We have not really seen that. Dayton taking Declan Miller as he again isolates to initiate.
And the switch, Saunders now covering Ocean Hines, who rips a beaut to Declan Miller. Put that throw on the highlight reel. Ocean Hines just letting it get unleashed.
Put it on the highlight reel. I mean, I think you might want to clip that and turn it into an NFT. That was gorgeous. And if you're a receiver, this is ideal. When you're goofing off, pretending to go deep and catch the score, it looks like this. Full speed sprint, and then you just coast into it because it's going to drop right in your lap. Turns out that the guy who can pull really good can also throw far.
Hey, those are not the same thing.
They're not.
They are not the same thing. I know players that can only pull. You don't want them throwing anything past 10 yards. And I know players that they have no idea how to get a good pull off.
Well, maybe they need to take some lessons from Ocean Hines because he's a double threat in that regard. And you know what that does is it really puts pressure on the defense when they're covering Miller. Miller opened up that play as an isolation, and Hines was the secondary isolation. And if you're guarding Miller, you feel like, okay, if I can stop his initiating cut, then I'm going to get a little break and I'll be able to recover and get my position back. But instead, that cut turns into a continue cut for Hines, and that's a lot to ask of a defender against a player of that caliber.
Ocean Hines really elevating his play in this game. We knew he was a great player, really showing out here in this one. And pulls are tiring as well. They expel a lot out of you. And another one that goes too long. Get out of the weight room, young man. I don't think he's played too many points.
He's still got some juice in him. And they're going to need it. I mean, they're still trailing in this one. But honestly, I think I'm ready for somebody else to step up and make a play.
Ocean Hines doing his part. Declan Miller playing outstanding as well. Who else on this Wales team will deliver in the championship game to try and come back on Lone Peak? Quick movement here by Lone Peak. Charlie Madsen resets to Dullen. Dullen waiting for his reset. Streaking up the line is Zane Pugh. Great handler defense by Milo Friedman. Coming across the field is Hawks. Zane Pugh. Disc upside down's in his hands. Swings to Dolan. Reset. Dolan to the end zone. Hold for Lone Peak. Ryan Roberts with his second goal.
Excellent offensive possession by Lone Peak. 0-1, and really just Hale never able really to apply a lot of pressure. They were present. They supplied some resistance. They forced Lone Peak to look at their second and third looks, but never did Lone Peak look pressured. And I think Hale's going to have to ramp it up. You're trailing against a team that obviously can execute if that's all you're going to ask them to do is, hey, can you complete throws? They're going to be able to meet that standard.
So if you are the Seattle Whales, you're down by 3. You've thrown a variety of different things at Lone Peak to try and get back in this game. You had your string of breaks, and then Lone Peak had their string of breaks to maintain this advantage. What's next? What next do you throw at them?
Well, you got to find ways to keep teams guessing. To try different looks. We've seen a lot of similar sets. Hale has been logically trying to isolate Miller in downfield sets. Maybe we see him more in the backfield. Maybe you see him used as a decoy, something like that. But I think I expect with teams that are coached as well as these two are, that you're going to see some second half mix-ups. You're going to see them reach into the bags a little bit.
Saunders with a deep pull of his own, and now Lone Peak coming out. Is that a 1-3-3? Yep, a mark with the wall here by Lone Peak, a new look. Gavin Leahy hoping to find somebody coming in to clean it up to Cedar Hines.
Oh, Cedar Hines is such a weapon on zone offense.
Oh, over the top. Not a great decision. Saunders sizing up the field. Jake Owen. Saunders. They continue, bobbled, but kept up. Kian Charles-Lyle. Owen working to the middle. One more. Oh, Cedar Hines stepping up defensively. That's a tough matchup. Everett Saunders. High stall, hammer across the field. 2 players are there, tracking it down.
Saunders just making it happen. I mean, somebody else is going to get the goal, but he gave it to him.
Nick Whatcott brings in the 4th assist of the game for Everett Saunders.
You think we're going to see more kids wearing pink hats after this game? The power of the pink.
Definitely makes our job easier.
And there, Cedar Hines getting the matchup with Saunders, trying to take him away, and had that great moment of reset defense, but opting to go with a face guard set. And Saunders is no rookie out here, so you just stand still. Just throw it to space, right? If you throw it past the defender, I'm going to have the advantage because I know where the disc is and he does not. And face guarding is not a technique that never works. It's particularly great if you're a strong athlete who can just outmuscle your opponent and you don't need as much reaction time to make the play. But against a seasoned player like Saunders and a teammate who can throw to space, it can be really difficult to execute that well because you're at such an information disadvantage.
11-7. First break of the half. Feel the tide building a little bit for Lone Peak.
Well, the pressure's really on the Whales to make something happen soon.
Miller needing a couple bobbles to reel that one in. Zone work last time. Wales didn't remain patient, tried to scuba it over the top, and they got the needed D there for Lone Peak. Friedman, Kalmus, one more to Schaefer White. Friedman again to Kalmus, chiseling away at the cup.
Miller following the throw. You see a number of players do that.
Schaefer White back to Declan Miller. Miller realizes he had to step on Saunders. Quick little dishy over the top. Hold there for Nathan Hale Waldorf.
Finding their rhythm at the right time. Almost were completely undone by just a stone cold drop by their star player. What a difference it would have made. Instead, they get a great hold with him as one of the starring roles on it. What I like about their zone offense is that they're always presenting an easy option, a reset, and a aggressive option, a penetrating throw. You know, here's your target if you want to threaten the defense. Here's your target if you want to get something easy and we can get a new count going. And often you're going to try and make the defense pick which one of these things are you going to take away from me. Excellent job, and also great fakes. The team is using their fakes really well. If you're the thrower and you got a cup on you, you got 3 people guarding you, 3 people responding to your fakes. That helps you set up options for other spaces.
And the big thing that separates the good teams from the great teams when it comes to fakes are fakes that actually look like they are intended throws. As one thing that cannot be impressed on to younger players early enough is that just flicking your wrist is not a legitimate fake to move a mark, to get the cup to move. Pretending to throw through the cup, an actual throw that you are holstering. It bounces in. Ocean Hines just toying with his pulls at this point. Wales need a break. Floaty disc. Zane Pugh remains calm, lets it come in.
Hale sensing that could have been a spark for them if they make that play.
Ooh, good length on the outer wing. Hale breaking out of the zone. Preston Hawks finds a ton of space in the middle of the field. Sawyer Ransom carving up yards. Mitchell Burt dumps it off for the reset. Zane Pugh as Ransom slipped. Vertical stack cuts coming from the front right now in the end zone.
This is nice red zone defense from the Whales, but can they hang on against a team that's maintaining possession?
Quick up line, Bridger Dayton. Declan Miller on the mark. Very active, and finally able to get it off late. Patience, DeLynn. Able to score. Just defense. One of those where they're playing hard the entire point, and then finally able to break through, get a clean up line. Max DeLynn.
Now, simply running out of opportunities. Lone Peak 3 goals away from winning the high school national invite for the first time. And the Whales are going to need to generate some of those chances. They're going to need some takeaways. This Lone Peak offense has been efficient, and they look confident right now.
correction there on that assist. It was Kimball Pugh. As we are winding down on this high school tournament, we saw some great ultimate over the past 2 days. Some really impressive teams in both of our finals here and the runs that they were able to go on. Of course, congrats to the girls champions, South Eugene, as they won in dominating fashion throughout the entire tournament. And now Lone Peak looking for a big upset heel over Wales. Miller puts it to Cedar Hines. Oh my goodness!
The entire crowd is doing head taps right now for Cedar Hines.
What a sky for Cedar Hines.
Can you say Cedar was up in the treetops on that one? Or Cedar High? I mean, he went up top over 2 defenders. I mean, this is not an advantageous position for him. This is the same third throw. 2 players coming up, sandwiched between them, and Hines goes up and comes down with the disc, leaving Lone Peak players in his wake.
You know what is even more outstanding about it? Both players fall face down on the turf, and he comes down on his feet. Just the encapsulation of that play.
Is this the potential turning point? Is that the spark that the Whales needed? Is that the song that the pod needed to hear?
Well, they've been able to get it done on offense. Can they get the break on defense?
Yeah, sadly, the offense is the easy part. Finding a way to get that Aria disc out of the hands of this team is the hard part, but Lone Peak feeling generous.
Went through the hands of Mitchell Burt.
I will take responsibility for that, Lone Peak fans.
Miller. Oh, man.
The crowd just holding their breath. You could feel the intake as everyone waited for the potential greatest.
Rising as one on that one play. Was that, though, one of the last chances for Nathan Hale Waldorf to punch back and get a break?
This zone is now starting to feel like it's applying pressure, but so is the moment. The moment itself has gotten heavier.
Crowd's into it now. Lots of talk. Players pointing on the sidelines, helping out their teammates.
Hawks is a 25 yards deeper than Declan Miller right now, but almost a full field away. And I don't believe what I just saw. A layout block that somehow DeLynn was able to get his hands under to the point where no one's even questioning it.
Zane Pugh. They aren't gaining yards, but this is extolling a lot of energy on the Wales side. A lot of throws going off.
And a lot of potential turnovers.
DeLynn pinches it on the sideline over to Pugh. Another scooper over the top by Zane.
I think Miller's just hoping that they send one.
He wants it. He's almost begging them at this point. Some nice unders, some yards, some breathing room. Again, it is 12-9. This is an 0 point for Lone Peak. Wales really need a break. Oh, and a breakdown defensively. Numbers here. A slide by DeLynn. Does he tow it? He does.
I don't know what Max DeLynn just did, but whatever it was, it absolutely stunned the defense. I mean, he threw a give and go where the defender looked like he teleported away. The defender had no idea where he went. And then it was an easy run from there towards the end zone.
It goes down to you can't do the same thing over and over again. That entire point, DeLynn just staying back in the backfield as that is the grab. Wow, just the focus.
I mean, Max DeLynn just with witchcraft on that point. Two improbable moments. I don't know how he caught that. That was a turnover that he just willed into being a completion.
3 assists for DeLynn today. He also has 2 goals. It is 9-13 and 2 points away from taking the title. Lone Peak staying loose. Time winding down. A lot of work to do here for Wales to stay in this. Ocean Hines defender went, streaks up the field, and he places it deep. Lang has to go up for it, catching the trash. Cedar Hines. In celebration, sends it to his sideline. How many plays have we seen by the Hines brothers today?
Cedar Hines just following the play and ends up making it play. But what I love on that possession is Ocean Hines staying active. Once his defender left his feet, Hines had the disc unmarked. But you know what's better than an unmarked thrower? An unmarked cutter. So he gets rid of the disc and starts going. And that gets him into the power position to send this deep shot. Not the perfect throw, but I'm sure he's happy with the end result.
And that disc was tapped by Lang, his teammate. But Hines maintained control to go up and get it. 10-13. This is it. You need a break right here if you want to have a chance. Haven't gotten one this half. If you're Wales, you got to play this as if it's game point.
And I will say, the last defensive point with that zone was the best defense that we've seen the Wales play thus far. I don't know if they're wearing down the offense of Lone Peak or if they were just in the zone. They sensed that this is the time and we got to play our best. What it was, just a moment in time, but whatever it is, they need to recapture that because if they can play like that again, there were 3 or 4 potential turnovers at that point, and they got 1 actual turnover. I'm sure they would be happy to take their chances with those kind of percentages once more.
Another stellar pull by Ocean Hines. Deep field position.
I'll tell you what, if you're on defense and you need a big play, starting off with a big pull gets you so fired up. You want to sprint down on it so hard and get the block.
Ooh. Mitchell Burt. That one over the top. Campbell Pugh.
You can see they're trying to apply more pressure now. They're trying to get in the way of the resets. They're willing to give up some upfield throws as long as they can contain them to 1 or 2 at a time. Just don't want to give up a number of big gainers.
And everyone playing underneath for Lone Peak. Keeping it short instead of just having a guy deep that Declan Miller's baiting the deep shot.
Sideline trap. This is a big opportunity. They still have them stuck on the sideline, but they can't stop the throws directly.
Preston Hawks. Oh, but there's the drop. There is the drop. Sawyer Ransom.
Their last break chance went unrealized in a very similar circumstance. Can they deliver now with almost everything on the line?
Kalmus to Ocean Hines. He'll send it if he has a look. Miller streaking deep, knowing who has the disc in hand. Miller gets it back. He had a man, but holstered it.
Great poach to take away that option. I think Miller would have fired that had somebody not flashed in the lane.
Waltz in to Kalmus. There's one break.
And Kalmus says, that's it. That's it. That's what we need. And he couldn't be more right.
And the drop there by Sawyer Ransom. These guys, this Wales team, they have been running it the entire game, and a lot of the semifinal game too. Declan Miller, Ocean Hines, Cedar Hines, these guys playing every point, no breaks, and still able to deliver.
And they've been forced to step up because I gotta say, Declan Miller has been challenged in this game in a way that we have not seen. I mean, Lone Peak is really making him work for everything. He's not often getting his first look, and that's forcing these other players to have to take on bigger roles.
And right now, the crowd is behind this Seattle's Wales team.
Everybody loves an underdog, Tyler. Whoever's losing, they're rooting for him. Well, probably not this Lone Peak contingent to our right, which is a healthy-sized group.
Saunders fields the pull. All Lone Peak needs is 2 holds.
We're pretty close to a poach block on that.
Delin. Off to his left, gets it to Zane Pugh. Big swing around to Mitchell Burt. That's who Declan Miller is matched up on. Zane Pugh. One more upfield. Saunders has it. Big fake over the top. Burt. Delin. Oh, miscommunication in the backfield. Here we go. Wales can get another and climb within 1. Kalmus putting it to Miller. Does he stay in bounds? Does he get the drag? No. No, being called out. Take another look. You be the judge.
Miller disappointed, and yeah, I don't think he got it. Tough to tell from this angle, but I don't think so.
Didn't even go for a drag. I think he was playing the orange cones that are on that back line.
And with the defenders there, it's hard to really wait for the disc. Nice defensive pressure.
Saunders trapped on the sideline, but we know he can get out of it. He does on a swing.
Lone Peak looking a little stagnant.
And I like that shot too by Wales. 2 of your top guys, you got to go for it in that moment.
Speaking of got to go for it, man streaking deep. Nice poaches to help keep it from going up.
Delin, Saunders, and I believe a pick as Tucker Kalmus was trying to cover Saunders.
On your check.
No play on. The hammer by Saunders, back corner. A tough read, but a good read nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a perfect throw.
5th assist of the day for Everett Saunders. The tap in, that was the look he was looking for all the way. Preston Hawks. As it is now game point for Lone Peak.
You said 5th assist, I believe. I'm pretty sure 3 of those have been hammers. And 2 of those have been ones in which he basically just threw somebody open. Saunders has been a get-out-of-jail-free card in some of these situations.
Man, Wales, they had a chance. They had a chance to get the break. To be able to climb back within 1. And right now, Nathan Hale Waldorf, the mixed team out of Washington, with their backs against the wall, facing Utah's Lone Peak.
The Lone Peak Knights trying to make a good night. They'd love to do it with a break. They're already practicing the celebrations.
(14-11) the count here. Boys Championship, High School Nationals here on Ulti World. What a season, though, for both of these teams. And you always love, especially on both sides, both teams playing at the highest level, leaving it all out on the field. And we're seeing that right now by both Nathan Hale Waldorf and Lone Peak.
And we've seen all weekend teams really stepping their level up. It's been really exciting to watch. And we're fortunate to have gotten a lot of footage of play on Saturday and in the earlier rounds. Just like we did at the Division III and Division I USA Ultimate College Championships. Tons of games in there. So if you didn't see what you wanted on the live stream, if there's another game you were hoping to catch, chances are we have it filmed. And we could not do all that work without the support of our subscribers. ultiworld.com/subscribe to find out how you can get access to all of that trove of video, other benefits, and support the work that we do.
And the selection of games, they were outstanding. We picked the right ones to film, that is for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good ones in there.
14-11. If Lone Peak is able to break, they will win the Open Division Championship.
Great defensive pressure, but a foul's going to be called.
Yeah, Saunders a little aggressive on that mark. It's very difficult to be able to get a point block with your back.
Thank you for a good spirit.
To the mark.
Foul, no contest. Right back to you.
Without foul.
Coming in saying stalling 1.
Really, really difficult to be able to get the disc as it comes out of their hand.
Coming in saying stalling 1 on your check.
Without hitting it while it's in their hand. But still not a favorable position for Hale, who's pretty much just moved backwards until that throw.
Cedar Hines just waiting for someone to get open in the backfield. Kalmus
all alone, though. No reset for him.
And they're going the wrong way in the end zone. Miller, Kalmus, Cedar Hines. There we go. They have upward momentum. Oh, shuffle pass. Kalmus scoops it up off of his socks. Oh, a layout block. Lone Peak can do it here. Saunders, the hammer. Bookends for the championship. Kimball Pugh. And Lone Peak stands alone at the peak of boys high school ultimate.
Everett Saunders, of course, with a hammer to win it. collapses on the field. He's being supported. I mean, he is overjoyed to have climbed the mountaintop for this team.
He just picks it up, no hesitation. And what a read by Kimball Pugh. Matched up against Cedar Hines, who had his own outstanding sky in this game. But there is your champion, Lone Peak, out of Utah. They come in, they beat the heavily favored Nathan Hale Waldorf and come away champions here in the 2022 High School National Invite.
And what a way to end it. You know, not only the beautiful hammer to the sky that we just saw, but with an incredible defensive possession. That is one of the best defensive possessions, if not the, that I've seen in the boys division at this event. They applied a ton of pressure and came away with the break and finished it on their own terms. And for this Utah scene that so often is unable to compete on the national stage, you know, they can't often play at the big championship tournaments because they can't play on Sundays. You know, that's been something we've talked about for so long at the collegiate level. There are a lot of players who can't compete at the club level for the same reason. And this tournament presents a unique opportunity to recognize those players. But this is a scene, a community that has been fighting for validation, for recognition for what they're building in Utah, and they are getting it with performances like this.
And you can see the emotion, the smiles, the tears, and of course it came from some outstanding plays here by Lone Peak, and both teams really have to hang their head high. Nathan Hale Waldorf, Oceans Hines had a phenomenal championship game, but the story is going to be Lone Peak. Everett Saunders, a goal, 6 assists. Max DeLynn, 2 goals, 3 assists. Preston Hawks, 3 assists and a goal. Man, like you said, you couldn't have said it better, Keith. What a way for this tournament to end.
Lone Peak showing off everything. I mean, they played fantastic defense. Their handlers were strong. Their cutters were athletic. They made plays in all parts of the field. They ran a couple of different sets. They looked disciplined. They defeated a really tough opponent and did so with their own style.
Lone Peak wins under the lights. An outstanding contest. Final score 15-11. I'd like to thank everybody in our Ultra World Broadcast Group and everyone that was able to make the trip out to Richmond, Virginia. For Keith Rayner, I'm Tyler Byram. Lone Peak wins the High School National Championship.